let's put it this way. In the scheme of things, it's not that big a deal. So I'll just get over it in a little while, but I want to thank everyone for attending today, especially today. I will be doing some shopping later on, but not leaving the house. That's what's so great about doing online shopping. I can't deal with the stores, can't deal with the people, can't deal with that aggravation, don't want to. So thanks a lot, everyone. And should I just pass it over to someone else, Brenda, or do you want to do that?
Yep. No, I think let's keep on going. That's awesome.
All right, Sue,
Sue,
good to
go
see
ahead.
you.
Hi, everyone. I'm known as Sue Mentors in the virtual world. I have a global mentoring practice for professionals at all levels of transition. I love being here. Brenda let me come a couple years ago because I wanted to learn more about the U.S. job situations, working globally as I was doing. And now so much has blended that it's just been great to be able to contribute and also learn from all of you. And I know at least one of you on here sent me a lovely Thanksgiving message, and I ignored my messages for Wednesday prep day and Thursday, Brenda eating pie day before my turkey, which I loved. It was a great idea. Happy to help you all out.
Oh, she just went muted. Sue, you just hit your mute button. We can't hear you anymore.
Don't
there you
know
go.
What happened? That's all right. I just said I'd love to connect. And if you're on YouTube afterwards, look us all up because we'd love to connect and help you out if you haven't connected on LinkedIn with us already. Thanks, Brenda.
All right. Jude. Hey, Jude. I'm sorry. I won't ever get tired of that. I love it. I love to see you too, Jude.
I love it too. So I never get upset when I hear that. Good morning, and my name is Jude Gall. I'm a resume writer, and my purpose in life is to help people find the job that they truly want, not the job that they have to settle for. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn and hope that the advice or the what you hear here helps you in your job search. And like Sue and Kenneth, I'm also very appreciative that Brenda has given me this opportunity to help job seekers every week on this platform.
All right, wonderful. Joey, you're up next. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Morning, everyone. Happy post-Thanksgiving. So thanks, Brenda. Yeah, so I've been around a while, and I help unemployed professionals with the tips and tactics I've learned of selling and problem solving over the years, and try to teach them to be not job seekers, but salespeople, and help them overcome that stigma that's attached to salespeople. And that's what I do. So I'm not an expert in anything in particular, other than that people want to get from someplace from where they are, and there's a way to do that. And one of the ways to do that is selling yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Joey. And I see Christopher Johnson. We've got like a celebrity in the house with us right now. Yes, you are a celebrity. Don't make that look on your face. Christopher Johnson, are you able to introduce yourself?
Good morning. I'm happily able to introduce myself. Christopher Johnson. My company is Calm Clear Communications. I help organizations with the technical scaffolding to make their events special, stand out, smooth. I am the tech guide on the side.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Christopher. And by the way, Christopher, I was thinking of you because I'm in the process of launching some upcoming webinars in December. And let me give you guys a little bit of a sneak preview, but don't tell anyone. This is coming. This is very exciting. Well, you can tell people. It's the webpage isn't public yet. Oops, let me find the webpage and then I'll share it with you. But I'm working on, as you all know, some new offerings for the experience rich. So those people that are in career transition and age 50 plus, and ramping up to that, I'll be launching this webinar, and I think it'll be in your email boxes on Monday, but I'll give you guys an advanced sneak peek of what the topic will be. It's going to be 3 ways to leverage LinkedIn to accelerate networking and find a job for the experience rich age 50 plus. The webinar page is not open yet for registration, but I just want to give you guys a heads up that will be coming very, very soon. Related to that, right now I have a version of Zoom, which is the meeting version. It's a paid version, allows me 100 seats. Right now we're up to 21 people. During a non-holiday week, we'll typically have 30 to 40. Sometimes we've had 50 and 60 people coming on. So the license I have allows me those number of people, but it also allows us to show video. One of the problems I have when I do a meeting format is chat is crazy busy and it's hard for me to keep track of things. I know the webinar version of Zoom will allow me to do things differently. It takes away some features, one of which is I don't get to see all of your lovely faces. But it does give me the ability to have a questions panel, which I believe I can't have in the meetings version of Zoom. Is that right, Christopher?
That is correct. You get a Q&A box
Yeah.
that you can,
Facilitate. So in advance of the webinar, I'm going to be purchasing the Zoom webinar license to host these sessions in December. And next week after our Friday VIP call, I'm going to invite anyone who wants to come in to do a test with me, just so I can see the technology, check out the questions tab. And I'll have some details for you on next week's call about that. I'm not going to rehearse the webinar. I just want to rehearse using the webinar format for Zoom. So heads up on that for all of you. All right. I want to say good morning and welcome to all of you. It is Friday. It is the Friday after a holiday. Even though you're not working, it may have been a late night for you because you had family and friends over, or maybe you were visiting family and friends. Maybe you stayed home, but you had a lot of heavy foods that sometimes can keep you up a little later at night and cause you to get up a little earlier the next morning. At any rate, this week feels a little different, but for many of us, it's not that different because when we're not working, I don't know about you, but I remember when I was first in career transition, I'm like, is it Monday? Is it Saturday? Like every day feels a little bit similar because there's not that pattern of leaving the house and going to the office or getting in front of your computer on a weekday versus a weekend. That's part of the reason I wanted to hold Friday session is for all of you, because I want to create some normalcy into this chaotic, non-normal time in your life when you are in career transition, unemployed, and in job search mode. And I'm so glad that we held this because we've got 21 people on with us this morning. And while I say good morning and welcome to all of you, if you are new, I want you to go in chat right now and put the word new in. I may call on a few of you to introduce yourself, but that'd be okay. And then for the rest of you, I want you to go into chat and type in an introduction of yourself. And what I like to see is, see if my text expander thing. Okay, perfect. Tell us succinctly your targeted job title. What are you looking for? Your targeted geographic area, meaning where in the world are you located, and then put in your LinkedIn URL. Make sure that you include the HTTPS when you put that in, because then it'll be blue and clickable for those folks who are joining us. We can connect with each other. And by the way, when you connect, if you choose to connect, which you should, you want to mention that you were both on the VIP Friday call today. Okay, so use that as an introduction. All right, so I want to say good morning and welcome to all of you. We have with us today Alicia, Cheryl, Christopher, Claudette, Janine, Jeff, Jeffrey, Jennifer, Joey, Jude, Kenneth, Lisa L, Lisa V, Megan, nice to see you, Michelle, Paige, Rosemary, Scott, Sue, and Tom. And if you all remember last week, Eleanor was our helper. She's not on the call today. I'm going to assume that's because she's interviewing or she got a job, right? Because I was joking about the power of volunteering and how sometimes that creates social media karma that can give a little bit of a jump start to your job search. On that note, I want to see if anyone would like to volunteer to help me to facilitate chat today. If you've not volunteered before, put volunteer in chat right now. All that you need to do is just keep track of the word success as you see them popping up in chat, because we're going to have people tell success stories in a minute. By the way, if you have a success story, put success in chat right now and we'll call on you. I'm going to ask my helper to also help to locate questions in the chat. By the way, for all of you on the call, if you have a question, type in the word question in all caps and then type out the full question. That way, even if we can't get to it, others may be able to help you with that. And what else? So success stories, questions. We already did our introductions and we've got about an hour together. Since it's a small group, if we need more time to go on the questions, I'll go till no longer than 11:15. I've got to get my husband to the car dealership. His car's in for a repair, but I will keep us no longer than 11:15 a.m. today. All right. And I already see a couple people volunteering. Let me see who the first one was. Rosemary. Rosemary, you'll be so kind to be my volunteer this morning?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So reminder again, you're just going to be looking for the word success in chat. or question. So if anyone on the call has a success story, I want you to put success in chat. If anyone has a question, I want you to put question. Do not be shy. This is your time. Our virtual office doors are open to all of you this morning. We've got a couple of all-stars that will be helping us out. And by the way, which of the all-stars want to help out with questions today? You can like raise your hand like I'm doing right now. Just physically raise your hand if you're able to help. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us here today. We'll put all 5 of us up on here. Christopher, would you be so kind as to spotlight the 5 of us? Could you want us to raise our hands again?
I would be happy to do so. However,
Okay.
may
I
I?
gotta make you a co-host. Goodness. Don't tell Christopher I forgot to make him a co-host. All right, there we go. You should have that ability now. All right, so he's going to get us into the little panel view so you can see our lovely faces there. All right, and then I have to write down names because this is how bad I am. Rosemary is going to help us to identify what's happening in chat. So far, I only see one Rosemary, which is from Lisa Vitale House, has a success story. Lisa, what is happening?
Unmute yourself.
Unmute, and I'm going to pull her up on video too as Christopher's pulling the rest of us in. Lisa, what's going on? I'm so excited.
I
for
have
you.
another interview with a different company on Tuesday.
Wonderful.
And it came through, actually it came from Heather Coleman Boss, who I've been working with, but it was somebody that she knew that I actually know on Facebook and I've known for a while just through Facebook. And she thought that I might be good for the position. So I'm interviewing.
That's
And
wonderful. So do you
yes.
want to tell us anything? Let's, any advice for fellow job seekers, what led you to this opportunity or advice that Heather gave you that helped? Was it just the connection from Heather? Tell us more about it.
It's about connections. You know that. It's about connections. And this person, like I said, this person I've known for a while, but I just never met her. And she thought of me. So she was in this position, got a promotion and thought of me, went to Heather, and that's kind of how it works. And don't give up because I've been looking for a long time. So I'm glad and happy that I have an interview. It's a good way for me to learn more about another company and get some more experience interviewing. So
Wonderful.
we'll see.
Well, good luck. You said it's Tuesday?
Tuesday, yes.
Wonderful. Well, good vibes going your way from all of us here on the call.
Thank you.
Any of the all-stars want to give advice to Lisa as it relates to her interview coming up? Feel free to unmute yourself.
It's not so much advice, Lisa. It's not so much advice, but it's almost serendipitous. I was scrolling through the internet like we all do mindlessly, and I caught a quick glimpse of an interview between Jimmy Kimmel and Anthony Hopkins. You know Anthony Hopkins, famous actor. He's in his 80s now, and so Jimmy asked him. He says, "You've been here a long time. What can you tell us? What can you tell us young people that we should be paying attention to? What words of advice do you have for us?" And he said, without batting an eye, never give up. So there you go.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, Sue, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you to self-reflect in front of all of us, Lisa. What went well in your last interview that you might want to continue to do? And what was one thing you want to change? I'm just trying to help you prep for Tuesday.
Thank you. I know one thing I would like to change is that I need to expand in my answers to my questions or upon my story, I should say. And this is a little bit different. This company is different than the last company I interviewed with. So I have to make my stories or adapt my stories to what I think is that position that they need. Because you see that I'm not just doing one thing. I'm trying to break into another field, which is kind of difficult. So that's what I'm going to do. And what went well is I was upbeat and happy and positive, and that's really important, I think. And that's actually one of the things that Annette, who is the one that asked me for the interview, she said, this is what you should, this is something that we're looking for. So that's a good thing too. So.
Awesome. Jude, did you want to add something to that or ask a question?
Yeah, I want to just note, Lisa, that providing the right amount of information in an answer is something that is kind of like the Goldilocks. Too much is not going to get you anywhere, and too little is also not going to get you anywhere. There's that sweet spot. And so you don't want, you want to give information that's relevant, but don't provide too many extra details that really are not furthering your demonstrating your skills. I like to use 3. 3 is my magic number. So, you know, your context, name 3 things like your job title, the company that you worked for, or the sector that you worked for, and what the situation was. Now, the situation doesn't have to be a long, drawn out thing, right? It could just be the company wanted to create a new marketing strategy. That's it. 3 action steps that you took that demonstrate your competence and the skills that you're using, and then 3 positive results. People often come up with 1 positive result, but if you come up with 3 positive results, that shows that what you've done is really, really helpful to the organization. And that way, if you stick to the 3-3-3, it's really easy to remember, and you can create an answer off the top of your head because all of your experiences are in your brain. You just have to pull them up, right?
That's great advice. Thank you.
Right. Wonderful. Well, good luck, Lisa. Keep us posted. And I feel like, I don't know about all of you, but I feel like Lisa has momentum right now. Don't you feel like that? Like things are happening, things are lighting up. It's only a matter of time, Lisa, before we're not going to see you on the call again. And by the way, it's not like we don't want to see you, but our goal is to get everybody back to work and to be here for you for support until then. I'm curious if anybody is new on the call here today. Is anybody new? I didn't see anybody putting the word new in chat. Maybe we just have the posts that have been
Cheryl
coming.
is new. Cheryl.
But did she say new?
No, she just raised her hand. That's how I
okay.
saw her.
Cheryl, do you want to introduce yourself? Can you tell us how you found us? And then can you tell us what is your targeted job title and your targeted geographic area, if you wouldn't mind? Hey there. Oh, we've got a little, I can tell it's an audio video delay and we're not hearing you right now, Cheryl. So here's what we're going to do. This is my little workaround. We don't make mistakes here. We have learning experiences, and the learning experience here might be related to the Wi-Fi. So here's the little workaround. If you're having a Wi-Fi hiccup issue, go to the place where the sound is coming through your Zoom. My version says it's like the mute, the microphone button. And then if I click on that, I can switch to phone audio. So Cheryl, if you do that, switch to phone audio, you can dial in. And this is the beauty of, working through technology hiccups. If you dial in on the audio, it's going to still associate you with the video. So even if the Wi-Fi where you are is a little bit spotty, the phone will work. So we can hear you, even if the video gets a little bit jiggity jaggedy. That's a very technical term, jiggity jaggedy on there. So while we are waiting for Cheryl to call in, I'm going to ask Rosemary, do we have any questions?
We do have a
and
question
Okay.
from Michelle Evans.
Okay.
She's still working on transitioning into HR, but changing her focus into more people oriented. Should I make any changes to her current about section?
Okay. So Michelle, I'm going to ask if it's okay if we pull up your LinkedIn to look at this together.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So you're shifting industries. Is that what I heard?
Yes. So I'm making a transition from mental health. And I know you and I work together on my about section. And what people had told me, the easier way to get into HR is to go HR business partner or employee relations.
Okay.
After thinking about it, I'm more interested in still like a people operations manager or employee engagement. So I just wanted to make sure that, what I have right now in the about section will be okay. Or if I should make some kind of changes to convey.
Okay, so I'm going to start first by just, I'm on Michelle's profile. I'm on her about section, and I first start by not expanding the whole thing out. I'm not going to click on see more yet because I want us to focus on the first 4 lines, which is the previewable area. And I heard from someone, it might have been Richard Vanderblom, I'm not sure, but they said that I always say most people will not click on see more. So keep that in mind. I think he said it was like 95% of people visiting your profile will not click on see more. The right people will click on see more, but only if you've captured their attention in those first 4 lines. So you got to make sure it's really clear what it is that you're looking for, how you could help an organization, and you're keeping in mind this is not really about you, Michelle. It's about you as it relates to how you can help the organization in the role. So make sure that it's very clear you're hitting the ground running with that description. Even if they don't click on see more, having a long about statement, maximizing the 2,600 characters they give you is going to help you to come up in more searches on LinkedIn. So the first paragraph, you say, I'm an experienced relationship builder and problem solver with a passion for human resources, dedicated to guiding managers and employees towards success while helping organizations reach their goals. My experience working with employee assistance programs. What's your targeted job title that you're looking for, Michelle? Can you remind me?
Either I'm thinking of like employee engagement manager
Okay.
or even people operations manager.
Okay. And do you don't have experience in those job titles yet?
No, like with an employment and engagement, what I've been doing, I just started something recently with my current job, is doing more employee engagement within my team. So I just started doing monthly what we call coffee breaks. I come up with different games to build morale, things like that, and everyone's really enjoying it, and they look forward to it. Because we're all counselors, so we need something to relax and something fun to do. So,
So I'm just thinking right off the bat, like I want to make sure it's clear to that hiring manager or recruiter what it is that you're looking for and how you can help an organization. Either using the phrase aspiring, HR business partner, or an experienced employee assistant professional looking to move into a HR business partner role. So it's clear to me, like categorically what you're looking for.
Okay.
I almost feel like the first paragraph shouldn't be the first paragraph. I feel like something else should be up onto there, because that's kind of the background. Like that says to me, why are you qualified? But what I want to do is give you a better running start with that first paragraph so that it's clear what it is that you're looking for. So you might say something like, I believe in the power of team and inspiring employees through employee engagement initiatives. As an aspiring HR business partner, my goal is to bring my expertise from working with people in the operations field and transition that into an HR role to help an organization achieve its employee retention and business objectives. To learn more about opportunities within your company and how I can help you, contact me at michelleevans@gmail.com or something like that. Now, I just made that off the top of my head, Michelle. If you liked any of that, you can always watch the YouTube and pull out what you liked from that. But that's just off the top of my head. I want to give you a better running start into that first paragraph to capture people in. Does that help you a little bit?
Yes, it definitely does. I was like, where's the transcript? I don't see it.
I know. Well, is the transcript running? Did I not do that right, Christopher? Can you see the transcript? I thought I enabled it.
It is enabled. If someone
Okay.
puts on the CC, they can see it. So yeah.
It's in there. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
I'm going to ask if any of the other all-stars want to offer advice for Michelle. If you want to, you can raise your hand, or you can use little raise hands. Well, you can just unmute. Just kind of go ahead. I see you waving at me. So
I'm going to look at this from a different perspective. It's I did this. It's about what can your skills do for the next employer? I mean, what's in it for them? Because this is very resume-ish in some ways, but it's like, what is that past experience going to do to leverage what you want to do? And then the other part of that is, if I'm looking at your profile and I'm not a recruiter, how can I help you? I mean, I'd like to know in non-resume-ish what I can do to help you. So I think to some extent, you definitely want to market yourself better in general, because I'm reading it and I understand it very generally, but what is that background going to do for your next employer? Besides what Brenda mentioned about having the first 4 lines being a call out. I mean, it's, even if it's just kind of making it instead of in passive terms, making it, in a different tense.
Thank you. I'm writing it down. And I'm definitely going to catch the recording on YouTube.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. And by the way, I did get messages from a few people who've mentioned they were having some difficulty getting into the Zoom this morning. They said the link wasn't working. If you are ever having difficulty getting into the Zoom, I want you to first go into the group on LinkedIn. We'll continue with your advice in just a second, Michelle, but I just noticed in the background, a couple of people were like, I can't find the Zoom link. So I want to remind everyone, this is a private unlisted group that I've created on LinkedIn. I'm going to put the link inside chat right now. If you're not yet a part of the group, I want you to visit this link and click on the request to join button. It's private and unlisted. Private means I have to admit you into the group, and I make sure I'm very carefully screening to keep the right people, meaning job seekers and people that support the job seeking community in here, and the wrong people out. And then also it is unlisted. You can't find it in the group's directory, and it doesn't show publicly anywhere on your profile. But this is a great place if you're ever having difficulty getting into a Zoom, go into the group at the beginning of when the call should start and say, I can't get in. Can someone give me the Zoom? I try to go in at the beginning of the call. And then if I'm not, Paige or Julia, one of my interns, will go and check. And I just posted the link in here this morning, having trouble getting on today's Zoom, use this link. So for those who were having a hard time, hopefully you got my messages and you're coming in. Okay, I'm going to move us back to advice for Michelle now. And I saw Jude, you have your hand raised. So do you want to offer any advice to Michelle?
Yeah, Michelle, I noticed in your experience section that you have in your job at Employee Assistance Program Consultant, the number of bullets you have there are too many. If you could somehow, like that looks like a resume, as Kenneth said, it's very resume-like, but even for a resume, it's too much. If you could sort of look at each of those bullets and identify the skill that bullet reflects, and then if you could do that for each bullet, then you'd see clusters of skills, and then you could talk about those skills in a more succinct way, rather than putting them into this long group of bullets that probably, honestly, somebody might read the first two, but it's just kind of overwhelming. And I also noticed that you are an owner and a therapist, so you have this little gray box here. So if you have a logo, put that logo in, and you can do that by creating your company page. It's really quite simple. And that would give you more credibility as far as that goes, and also reinforce your competence in that people operations that you're hoping to get into.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I didn't have a logo and I don't do it anymore. And yeah, I just recently changed the experience thing. It was shorter and easier read before, and I just recently got my resume redone professionally, so I changed it. And that was another thing. Do I change it back to make it easier to read to where it was before without everything? So okay, I definitely would make those changes. Thank you.
Yeah, LinkedIn is not for the resumes. LinkedIn is where you can actually, Michelle, tell people about what you do and why you do it, and infuse a little bit of your personality, so that people get a real sense of who you are.
Okay.
Okay, and please, for the others on the call, thank you for that, Jude. Please, if the others on the call, just because I'm allowing people to unmute themselves, if you have advice you'd like to share, please use the raise hand feature. If you go down to the reactions, just like Jude and Joey have done, because then we can be respectful about who's speaking next, and we'll go in that order. Joey, you're up next. Advice for Michelle on her about.
Thanks, Brenda. So Michelle, I would go back to the transcript and take a little bit about what Ken had said and a little bit of what Jude had said. And in your about section, pull up one of those bullet items from your description that show realistic, quantifiable information. And the reason I suggest it is because anybody reading your about section is reading that and thinking to themselves, so what? 5 other people, 10, 20 other people that are applying for this job have practically said the same thing, Michelle. So you don't stand out. But the one thing from one of your bullet items that makes you stand out, and you have to figure out which one that is, would make you stand out. And so now when they read your about section and they see that one quantifiable result that you did somewhere else that maybe you could do for this individual, I think will put you in a better place.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so move that to, okay, because I know it's down in the experience, but you said put it in about. Got it. Yeah, for some reason,
Yeah.
my CCs are not working, so I'll definitely be listening to the replay.
Remember, the people reading about you are saying to themselves, so what? Everybody else says the same thing. Everybody else says they're a problem solver. Everybody says they love working with people. So what? Right? You got to stand out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joey. I always feel like when we have people from New York on the call, I always feel like I should I'm a Midwesterner. So I'm like, I get what you were saying, Joey. It felt a little like New Yorkish and I get it in a New Yorkie way. You know what I mean? And Michelle was asking for that advice. And I think we do need to be direct with each other. This isn't like a kumbaya, let's all love and hug on each other and, let's give each other real advice. I love the so what point of view because it kind of goes back to what I was saying, Joey, like this LinkedIn is really not about you. It's about you as it relates to how you can help them, which is the same thing as Joey saying, so what? But I used a Midwesterner way of packaging it and Joey used a New York way of packaging it.
You know what? You can take the boy out of New York. You can't take New York out of the boy.
All right.
No,
If there's
it's
anyone else that
fine.
has advice for Michelle, please raise your hand. If not, I'll give Michelle the opportunity for final comments and then we'll move on. All right. I don't see any hands raised. So Michelle, was that helpful for you? Oh, Megan Bo just raised her hand. Megan, you want to add something
I
here?
want to piggyback off of Joey's and kind of blend it with Brenda's. So not just a so what, but a so that. I do, so you can kind of pivot that as well. To Joey's point, so what, I do that. You're doing it so that the organization, like, kind of walk them through a preview of the benefits you bring. So this is what makes me different so that your organization experiences this. I do this so that blah, 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 blah. And sometime I know so what, the other flip to that, Michelle, is I've also seen this done a lot with people in your position where they highlight their accomplishments in the top. Like if your organization is looking for an HR person with ... And then at the bottom or like just below that, they put their value prop of I chose HR because, especially, and I'm going to take this from an HR industry spin. Consider the fact, to Joey's point of yes, the so what, so I'll try to keep it succinct, but you also have to be in a space if you're looking to transition into that and go full speed. People are now changing the language, like people operations, engagement, like look up the buzzwords and put those in your opener. Because that's going to resonate that you're trending where everybody else is trending. Because if you're not using those buzzwords, they might pass right by.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Megan. Michelle, was this helpful for you?
It was. It definitely was. I'm like, I need the help because I've been searching for a long time and I'm like burning out in what I'm doing. Right. Well, not burning. I'm burned. I'm crispy of what I'm doing right now as a therapist. And I guess one more question is, should, like in an about section, should I try to like sell my background and how in mental health as an asset to HR?
Absolutely. Yeah. My mental health background has uniquely qualified me to provide these additional insights, which will help your organization in a role as HR business partner or whatever that is. And then maybe bullet a couple things out in there. I see all of our heads are nodding. We're all like, yeah. Right. So yeah, absolutely. All right, Michelle, we'll look forward to watching your profile updates. And if you want to come on a future call after you've made those updates, we'll be happy to provide some additional feedback to you. How's that sound?
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, wonderful. Okay, let's
Brenda.
see. Rose, Sue, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just going to let you know because you were asking about new people. I know that Cheryl got on by audio, but we have two others, Susan Davis and Alexis Payne. And Susan's actually facing news of a layoff. So just wanted to make sure you didn't miss it. And maybe we could help those folks focus.
I appreciate that. So let's pull Cheryl down to the Zoom gallery here. Cheryl, now that I see the little phone icon, if you could unmute yourself from your phone. And if you could please tell us how you heard about us and then tell us your targeted job title and targeted geographic area. Oh, you have to unmute, I believe, on the phone. There you go. Try it again.
Okay, now I'm in.
There you go. We got you.
Hey, I didn't know how to anticipate my hotel setting because I am traveling. I'm typically out of the Cleveland, Ohio market. So my name is Cheryl Kildren. I learned about this group through a person who worked at the same company that I am also now a former employee of, as I was laid off at the beginning of the month. And so Kathy had been through the same thing as me, just about a year or so earlier, year and a half. And so she pointed me in the right direction, a wonderful person to know. I believe that Megan is also connected to Kathy Spicer. So perhaps that's a name you recognize. So at any rate, my target is to continue on the path I was on, which would be training specialist, training manager. I did a lot of new hire onboarding and continuing education in my history here. And so I'm looking to continue with that. I loved my job. I'd like to keep doing that job. I just need to do it someplace else now. I do have a success at the same time here. I'm so excited to say that I forgot to say new first. And that is that I've actually got a second interview scheduled for next Friday. So I won't be here because I'll be there. And what's so scary about it, though, is not just the whole I need to have a great interview, but because it's in training, not uncommonly, I have to now do a 20-minute presentation on a topic that I know very little about. So I don't get to just stress about showing up and doing a good job, but I get to stress all week as I spend every minute probably trying to come up with the best presentation that I can. While also keeping some other irons going, because I know I can't count on this to be the only second interview I'll ever need. Mm-hmm. So yeah, continuing the job hunt while being cautiously optimistic.
Awesome. And Cheryl, did you put your introduction into the chat along with your LinkedIn URL so that we can connect with you?
I did, yes.
Wonderful.
You can find me there.
All right, Joey, you raised your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations, Cheryl, for everybody on the call who's looking for work. For those of you who think that nothing happens between Thanksgiving and New Year's, here are two cases between Lisa and Cheryl where that's not the case. So do not think that because the holidays are upon us, that companies are not taking the time to bring in people to interview them. You cannot think that, because if you do, you're 6 weeks out of the running. That's it. Thank you.
Good advice. All right. Thank you so much.
To that, having done so much new hire training, I always had hires I was training in December. And if for any reason it was late enough that we said, listen, it's just too much time off between those last 2 weeks of the year, they would still have to be hired. And like literally the first Monday in January, I always had a new hire to train. That means that they were hired, given that offer in that window that you just mentioned.
Good. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. We're glad you found us, Cheryl. And Sue, you mentioned there was two other, was it Sue that said there was two other new people? Who were they again?
Susan Davis and Alexis Payne.
Okay, Susan or Alexis, would you like to introduce yourself? I'll give you the opportunity. You feel comfortable. If you do, unmute yourself and we'll pull you up. If not, that's okay.
Jennifer has a success as well.
Okay, we'll go to
So
Susan
get to
first.
Yeah.
We'll do Susan first, and then we'll do Jennifer for the success, and then we'll see if Alexis wants to introduce herself, and then we'll move on to questions. If that's okay. Susan, how are you? And Susan, first of all, I want to say thank you for reaching out, because she said, I've got a Zoom link, it's not working. And you weren't the first and you weren't the second. I think you were the third person who reached out. What happened is, this is a learning experience. I don't make mistakes. I have learning experiences, but the registration page would actually allow you to click to go join the Zoom without registering, which is fine as long as I have 100 spaces available. But the issue is, I tell people, by registering, you're joining my VIP job seeker list. And then I'll notify you about LinkedIn strategy tips and upcoming events and this course I'm working on. And it wasn't, if you didn't register, you could bypass and come into the Zoom without registering. So I'm like, well, I'm telling people they're getting on the list and they're not. So we disabled the Zoom link in the registration page, and we meant to put it in the body copy, but I think we put the wrong Zoom link. At any rate, you are here with us. Thank you for reaching out. And I always tell people, if I have spinach on my teeth, like, tell me a link doesn't work. Tell me I have a typo in my messages. I do like voice to text a lot. Tell me, because chances are somebody else noticed it and they're not going to tell me, because they're not a good friend like you are, Susan and Alexis and the others that are on the call. So thank you for that. All right. Enough about me. Susan, tell us about you. Tell us your targeted job title, targeted geographic area, and how did you hear about this call?
Targeted job title is still TBD because I'm using.
What does that mean? PDD. I don't know what that means.
TBD, to be determined.
TBD. I'm sorry.
TBD.
I was like, wait, okay. So are
My
you thinking
current-
what you want to do next at this point, or are you?
Right. My
Okay.
current job title is a PMO director, and it's a PMO of one. That's me. And it was a newly created role at my last company that got acquired. And the new company, after a year and a half, decided they don't need a PMO. So in 3 months, I'll be hitting the streets. But I'm hitting the street. I'm thinking of hitting the streets before. And the unique thing about me is I've been in the same company organization for 26 years. So
Okay.
I was with one company for 24 years. They were acquired by another company. I went with that. Got a promotion at that company. Thank you, Heather Coleman Voss, who was mentioned earlier on this call. And then acquired by another company, which is global, huge, and just doesn't have the budget or see the value. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity to take a step back because I've got a little bit of time. Is this really what I want to keep doing? The answer is really probably no. But how can I take all my skills and my background and adapt it to something that I am passionate about and is going to make me wake up with a smile on my face every day? So my
Awesome.
geographic region, I was in Michigan for the last 14 years and just moved out to Philadelphia about a year ago to be with family, but I'm a remote worker. My husband is working here in the Philadelphia area, but is willing to move and follow me if it's a better opportunity for our family, which is the two of us.
Okay.
So
So Susan, I'm gonna jump in here if you don't mind, because I want to keep us moving along here. I heard you say I'm trying to figure this out, where I'm going next, what I want to do next. Here's what I did, but what I did maybe didn't bring me joy. And it's, but now I've got this 3-month window. By the way, you and I are so similar. My organization told me my position was being eliminated in 3 months. And at first I was like, I'm going to stay. And I met with somebody and she's like, you're not going to stay. You're going to leave. Why are you going to stay if they're going to say your position? A week later, I went in, I met with HR and the president of the company. And I said, today's my last day. And here's my exit plan. Here's who I want to tell and how. I want to read the email that you send out about me. I want to make it sure it's clear it's not performance-based. It was because of restructuring and blah, blah, blah. And I made, I said, the goal of both of us is to end and depart from each other in the best light possible. So people don't feel bad about you, what you did to me. And so I don't say anything bad about you. I just said it more professional than that. But I left that day with my head held high, and I have no regrets about that process. Once an organization tells you your position has been eliminated, you're not going to do the same job you did the day before they told you that. And realistically, if they're giving you the option to leave sooner, especially if you can get pay for that, because then you can get your job search going 100% full time while you're going through that. That's a little advice I want to give to you. I want to see if any of the all-stars could give advice to Susan on career strategy and figuring out her next path. Jude, Sue, I'm looking to both of you. I see Joey raising his hand. I'm going to do Sue first, and then we'll do Jude, and then we'll do Joey. Go ahead, Sue.
A little practical strategy and a little strategy. So you have things, since Brenda didn't pull up your profile, I'm going to tell you, since I connected with Susan earlier because she put her URL in, you are missing a chance to write a summary and take control of the narrative. And I know you know that, but the larger strategy is you still have to think about not just what you want to be doing and happy to wake up in life. And I know this is a hard message, but I work with a lot of people who think that the ikigai, if you're into that, gives you liberty to say passion and, something worthwhile. You still have to be able to pay the bills. I think if you can also take this chance to do an inventory and try to figure out sort of where those two things overlap, that will get you some experience. And Jude is nodding, I'm not surprised, because you need to start being able to explain that. And I think Brenda earlier, or Ken, said something about knowing where the trends are, and not buzzwords and buzz phrases, but what are people looking for now that you can fit into? Because as a project manager, savvy person, you know the whole issue of project management, where people fit in the value chain of production of results. I think Joey said earlier, you know, or Megan said, that question, if you can explain how you facilitate that, that will get you into a lot of different jobs, I know. So let me stop there. That's just a larger strategy thing of some work you can do and try it out on us. You know, you can connect with us and say, I took a chance on this about statement. There, you know, there's always people reading LinkedIn, but no one's going to realize whether this is your permanent about statement or not. You could flag a couple of us and say, would you mind taking a look at this? I'll always give you verbal feedback, either audio or video, in some fashion, usually 24 hours. But I know that Joey and Jude both have their hands raised. So good luck. And again, I'm so glad you reached out and joined today and didn't wait for the official thing to drop.
All right, Jude, you're up next. Go ahead.
Susan, one of the other things that I would recommend, in addition to Sue's excellent advice, taking an inventory is so important, is to talk to people who work at companies that you're interested in. Talk to people who are in jobs that you think, oh, that kind of sounds cool. I wonder what that's really all about. Also, like, ask people, can I job shadow for a day? Like, really use your network to find out and discover what else is out there that might catch your interest and spark that thing that you're looking for. You know, I was in your position many years ago, and I know what it's like to get up in the morning and go, oh God, please. I made a change. You know, I was in my job for 2 years while I was getting the training that I needed to become a career coach. So I know it's possible. But you have to start talking to people and look around. The world is filled with information. And as soon as you are open to that, you'll be amazed at how much information comes your way.
Thank you, Jude. All right, Joey, advice for Susan.
Susan, thanks for joining us. Unfortunately here, I apologize, but I tell you, I don't think you're going to have an issue. I think people on the call should be seeing the amount of confidence and enthusiasm that Susan's exhibiting. It's part of the selling yourself process. She's doing a great job about it. Since you're in Philly now, I know Ken and I'm got to believe, Ken, I can't speak for you, but I got to believe you're thinking Lynn Williams, right? That we got to introduce. So Lynn Williams, Susan, is a woman who runs a group called the Greater Careers of Philadelphia. Either Ken or I will link you up with her. And again, another way for you to expand your network, but I'm not concerned about you. I think you'll do fine.
Thank you
All right.
so much. One of my little claims to fame is that every interview I've gone on, I've gotten the job, but I've only interviewed 3 times over
Right.
28 years. So.
And there's a reason for that. This is the point I've been trying to make all these years. So congratulations. Yeah, you'll be fine. We're not worried. I'm not worried about it.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, everybody, for your advice.
All right, to wrap up, I just remembered a piece of advice in the background too. I think it was Kathy McCafferty Smith, if I'm not mistaken. She offered me this advice when I was trying to figure out like what I wanted to do next. She said, just start looking at job descriptions. And it's not like you have to apply to them, but if you look at the job description, highlight the things that appeal to you and just start making a list of those things. Like, these are the things that appeal to me. Because maybe you don't want to be a head of marketing anymore. Maybe you want to be something else. I think she kind of knew I was going to go on a different path. I didn't even know that at the time, but other people can see that from you. So Susan, as you're looking at job postings for positions that you're thinking about, print them out and like highlight the things that appeal to you and just take notice of the things that you don't highlight on there too. Cause you're like, wow, I don't want to do project management anymore. That might help you out. So was this helpful for you, Susan?
Complete.
Oh, you went on mute and off mute again.
Yes, I've been looking at job descriptions and screenshotting little blurbs that look good, but what you just said about what I don't want to do is equally important. So that's beautiful. Thank you.
All right. I see Megan has her hand raised. So Megan, did you want to add something?
Piggybacking off of what Brenda said, I actually did that with my career coach 2 years ago. It was a fabulous exercise. I put all the skills that I was interested in and then all in a spreadsheet. and then all the things I didn't like as well in a spreadsheet. And I try to assess if what I didn't like was because I wasn't trained well in it, or it's because I just I just didn't like doing it. If it was a training or that. And for someone who's got your background, I think we may be similar in that it's helpful to kind of take a step back and go, did I not like it because I wasn't 100% fabulous in it? Or did I not like it because I genuinely just didn't want to do it? So to take Brenda's idea, then start that second tab on your spreadsheet of, these are all the skills that I want to do, but what are the skills you're great at? And I actually reached out to other people that I trusted their opinion and perception of me in the past and said, how would you rank me on the following? What were 5 things you would want me to do moving forward? So that also builds your collection of resume or references.
All right. Thank you so
I'm
much,
like Joey,
Megan.
you're going to be fine.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Susan, for joining us. Okay. I lost track of where we are. I'm going to keep us moving along here because we're getting close to the end of our call time. Rosemary, what did I say we were going to do next? I know we have Alexis, but did we have a question that I said we were going to do in between, or a success story? Do you remember?
Well, Jennifer had a success.
Okay, let's go to Jennifer first, and then Alexis, you are on deck because we were going to talk to you too. So Jennifer, can you please unmute yourself? And did you have a success story or a question?
Yeah, I've got 2.
Okay.
Is it like not this past Monday, but the Monday before, somebody just randomly contacted me on LinkedIn, and a company, it's a startup. So I'd never heard of it, but being a startup, that could make sense. And they actually sold my former company a year ago. And so then we had a phone interview a week ago, Wednesday. And with the recruiter. I was very surprised because usually if you have a phone screen with the recruiter, they're just trying to see if your salary expectations match what they can offer. And I guess, do you want remote, on-site, or hybrid?
Jennifer, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in because we are getting a little bit short on time.
Sure.
Did you have a question related to this that you wanted to share, or?
I guess the only thing is, I have an in-person 2-hour interview on Monday.
Okay.
And I had a second phone screen with the VP of product development this week.
Great.
And so it's looking really good.
So is this sharing success stories, or did you have some question? Or are you looking for advice?
And then I have I guess the thing I guess my question is then, my, an hour or 2 before kind of the break yesterday, when people started leaving, I got an email from a recruiter from a supplier that he wants to talk to me next Tuesday through Friday.
Great.
And so
you're on fire right now, Jennifer.
Yeah,
The
I
world
just
want you.
but then I got to make a decision, maybe. And so I mean, if I've had 2 phone screens and now I'm going for a 2-hour in-person interview to meet 6 more people on Monday, I have a really good feeling that this is going to lead to an offer. And so then.
So are you trying to figure out, is this a job you want?
Right. Like what are, they both places have similar things that could be good, but I don't know, like I'm trying to figure out the questions to ask on Monday. And then how do I manage these 2?
Okay. So you've got 2 potential job offers. And I think the question is, how do I figure out which one to take if I do get offers? Is that?
Yeah, I feel like
Okay.
I could get an offer on Tuesday, and I may have not even talked to the second place by then.
Okay.
And
So let's pause you right there, because I'm already hearing a couple things, and I think some of our all-star experts might have some advice for Jennifer. I'll give all of you the opportunity. You can either raise your hand or just wave, and you can go first on here. So Jude, Kenneth, Joey, Sue, any advice for? Go ahead, Jude. You can go first.
So typically, if you have the interview on Tuesday and then you have one on Friday, chances are that you won't be given the job offer on Tuesday. And even if you are given the
Sorry.
Bless you.
Bless you.
The written job offer, you are well within your right to let them know that you will take this into consideration and you'd like until the following Monday to give your answer to the job offer. That's generally known that you aren't going to accept it on the spot right there. And yeah, so that's one strategy that you can use.
Okay. Kenneth, Jude, or Kenneth, Sue, or Joey, anything to add to that advice for Jennifer?
I mean, I would just say this, no job is guaranteed for sure just because you get an offer. You don't know for sure till you walk into the door on that next day. And you're in a situation where you can negotiate a little bit between the two. One doesn't have to know what the other one's doing. You don't just stop interviewing just because you get an offer, and you don't even know when that offer is going to come. You know, they may say it's going to be in a day or two. It could be in a week or two. It could be they decided that they don't have the budget. So, you know, there's all different things to consider. Things happen. They can turn around. They say at the last minute, we just hired someone internally, which you have no idea about. You know, these are all just things to consider. So don't count your chickens before they're hatched, because you just never know.
All right. Anything else from the All-Stars or anyone else in the audience? Raise your hand if you have advice that you'd like to offer to Jennifer. Jennifer, I would say, I don't know if you've done the pros and cons list of each of the roles too. You're trying to kind of figure out which one is more appealing to you. Do the pros and cons. Like, what would you like about working for this company versus what's holding you back from that? And I would also suggest, if you do get an offer, or if you're still being considered and you've got two that are at play, you can use that as leverage. So if the first company, you get out of that interview, the next day they call you, they make you a job offer, to Jude's point, you don't accept it on the spot. You say, I want to think about it. And then you put your ducks in a row and you call them back and you say, thank you again for the offer. I'm very interested in this opportunity. I have a couple questions. I do also want to let you know I'm talking to another organization right now, and there's some similarities, so the questions might help to get me clarity. Is salary negotiable? In maybe go down that path, or if there's benefits that are part of the pros and cons, is it possible to get an additional weeks of vacation pay, or my medical benefits starting sooner, tuition benefits, or whatever it is that you're looking for? Use that as leverage. And then also you might say, well, the position is this job title, I'm looking to move up. What does that path look like? Is there a path for promotion opportunities or whatever? So get your questions answered that were part of the con for that organization. And then also call the second company and let them know you're now entertaining an offer for the first organization. Where do I fall in the candidate pool? Are you still considering me? Because I'm very interested in this, but there's a potential I could be accepting an offer later this week, which might accelerate their timeline, and they come to you with an offer. Then you've got two, and you could use the same leverage there. Going back, thank you for the opportunity. I'm wondering if salary is negotiable, if benefits are negotiable, whatever, those things that were holding you back from the con list. Does that help you, Jennifer?
Mm-hmm. My other question is, if I go with the one that's the startup, and then it's a startup, so things are risky, and then at some point I'm like, they go under, or they don't need that job, or whatever. Like, how do I maintain a good relationship with the other
second company? I mean, you connect with those people on LinkedIn, you follow their company page, you like their posts, you continue to remain familiar with them. Maybe 3 to 6 months out, you reach out and say, how are things going there? You keep the dialogue open. If it seems like the startup is not going to take off, then maybe you start to look at what your next path looks like and when do you make that move. I would caution you on taking a job that you're not feeling 100% about, because it's really hard to get another. You don't want to look like a job hopper either, is my concern there. If you've got a startup, and startups are always like the diamonds and the fields of the mountains of diamonds are in the pasture. We just have to look for it. Yeah, but that could be an optical illusion too. If you're not feeling like the startup really has the opportunity to get there, and if it's feeling too risky and you're risk averse, I'm risk averse, I would go with an established company that I know has a solid industry and foundation versus going with a questionable startup, unless I'm comfortable bouncing in 3 to 6 months or a year. So you got to figure out for yourself on that. Does that help you, Jennifer?
Mm-hmm.
All right, awesome. Okay, I'm going to keep us moving along. I hope you don't mind, Jennifer. I got one more person we want to get to, Alexis, on the call, but thank you so much for sharing that with us. Good luck with your interviews. Good vibes coming your way for that. All right, Alexis, I think you were up next. You mentioned that you were new. So I want to ask you first how you heard about us. And then second, can you tell us what is your targeted job title and targeted geographic area?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, so I have met a mentor of mine a year ago who's been working with me. She's in the HR industry, and I will be graduating in May from University of Michigan in Dearborn with my bachelor's in human resources. So thank you. She was working with me on my LinkedIn, and she was just telling me a list of people who I should connect with, and she mentioned you as well, and the weekly meetings that you have on Fridays. So I saw that really interesting, so I decided to connect with you and just try to get into the meetings and see like what kind of advice can I gain from this, being a newly graduate student who is entering into a different job market. I am currently in the health field right now. I work as a CNA at Garden City Hospital, and I do have some experience as being an intern in different companies like Trinity Health and Creative Minds Consulting, working as a HR intern or HR business partner. So I have some experience in that.
Okay.
Yeah, so like my goal is to gain a position as a HR generalist or recruiter. I'm not really picky on which position I get into. I kind of
Okay.
want to get the feel of everything.
Okay,
Just
Alexis, do you
see
mind if I
what
jump in?
area. Yeah.
Because I hear a lot of great information from you, and I've already got something I think you should do. I'm looking at your LinkedIn profile right now, and I know you're just getting started here on the platform. I did put your link inside chat. And that's one thing I would recommend that you do is, get your LinkedIn URL. And whenever you are on networking calls, group meetings, things like that, and people open up chat, introduce yourself in chat, just like we did at the beginning of the call. You don't need to say, hi, this is Alexis, because Zoom already says your name, but just say, say good morning. I'm looking for an entry-level HR position in Metro Detroit. Let's connect on LinkedIn, and then put your URL, because that helps to build out your network. Since you go to University of Michigan, what I would do if I were you is go to the University of Michigan's page on LinkedIn, click on alumni, and find alumni who work in Metro Detroit in HR and invite them to connect. In your invitation to connect with them, you'll have the opportunity to add a note. You always want to add a note and say, hi, Kenneth, we haven't met, but I see that we both attended University of Michigan, go Blue, and we both are in the HR field, or we both have an interest in the HR field. Let's connect on LinkedIn, Alexis Payne. After Kenneth accepts your invitation, you message him back. Thanks for accepting my invitation, Kenneth. I'm currently completing my degree at University of Michigan, graduating in May, and looking to obtain an entry-level position in HR. I was wondering if you might be open to an informational interview where I could ask you a few questions about how you got started. I'm not looking for a job. I just wanted to ask you a few questions. Kenneth is a good guy, and he's going to say, sure. And you get on the phone with him, and then you ask him some questions. If by chance you get somebody like a Kenneth who says, let's meet for coffee, or let's meet for lunch, let's meet at the library or whatever, go in person, bring your resume with you, but keep it in your portfolio. Don't offer it to Kenneth or whoever until if they ask for it. If they do, then show them your resume. But you're going to go and ask them questions about where to find entry-level jobs, any advice for you about finding HR organizations in networking or things like that in the area. And then at the end of the conversation or the interview, there's two questions. Is there anything I can do to help you? So you ask that. And Kenneth is probably going to say no, but thank you for offering. He might say, yeah, I have a charity fundraiser. Could you add a comment to my post or something? And then the other question you end the conversation with is there anyone else you would recommend that I talk with? And Kenneth's going to say, yeah, you should talk to Jude Gall, or you should talk to Joey Himmelfarb. I'll make an introduction for you so you get to know more people that way. That's my advice. I'll ask our all-stars to raise your hand if you have any additional advice for Alexis. I see Joey has raised his hand, so you'll go next, sir.
Thanks, Brenda. So Alexis, so if you have not already, you should also be enlisting the Career Services Office at University of Michigan. I don't know if you've done that. Have you done that? Okay, because I'm sorry?
Yes, I have.
Okay, because they have a lot of information and a lot of contacts, and they can do a lot for you. So don't neglect that resource that's available to you. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Kenneth, why don't you go? Since Brenda's
Sure.
missing.
Hi, Alexis. I do a lot of mentoring with college students where I am in New Jersey, and we talk about this a lot in terms of the connection. Definitely follow the page, the company page. I noticed you put down some of your accomplishments, anything you've done, any classes you've taken, any projects you've done on LinkedIn, because that counts towards your experience for now. And I would not be afraid to reach out to any friends that you have, any friends who have family members, because when my son was just starting out on LinkedIn, he connected with all of his high school classmates, his college students, and he found their parents there. You just never know, because that's your network in the beginning, is your family and friends before anything else. And definitely connect to all of us for sure, because we all have some real world experience working with all different age groups. So anything we can do to help, definitely.
Thank you.
All right. Was that helpful for you, Alexis? Oh, I see Sue
Yeah.
has her hand raised too. Let's go to Sue and then we'll finish off. Just 1 second. Go ahead, Sue.
I have one piece of advice. I came like you did. I started clinically as a nurse and ended up way away from that in public health. You have an opportunity to tell an interesting story about how you can provide care for 30 patients a day, all different situations, all different needs. So if you can do successfully in that, you're going to apply that to your human resources. So think about weaving in the story of your clinical work into how you can manage and work with a group of employees, because you're used to doing it on, needs change and all of that. So just an idea about, don't ignore your background in clinical nursing and your nursing assistant work, which is great. Bring it right to the forefront. And as Joey said earlier, a thing that makes you unique.
All right,
Thank
Alexis,
you.
was that helpful for you?
Yes, that was really helpful. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, we're glad you found us. And you were one of the people who also messaged me and said the Zoom link's not working. So it looks like the change has been corrected. And I see that you're inside the group as well now, so you can get inside there. By the way, I did post the link to, and I'm going to share this on screen right now so you can all see this. There's a way that you can, inside the group, introduce yourself. I'm going to put the link into chat again right now. But I created a post inside our private unlisted LinkedIn group where you can introduce yourself just like you do on these Zoom calls. So if you're watching this, you haven't already done so, click on that post and introduce yourself. Tell us your targeted job title, your targeted geographic area, and put in your LinkedIn URL. Or actually, you don't need that because we can click to go to your profile. But I do want you not just to post in there. I also want you to look through all of the comments from other people. And I want you to make a mental note. Janine is looking for a communications manager or copywriter in Chicago. Jerry is looking for a senior PRM in DC. In government contracting. Laura's looking for a VP finance in Denver. So read through because you never know when you might come across a VP of marketing in Phoenix and you're like, oh, I just saw Jill posting about that in the LinkedIn group. So let's use that post to read through and to help others. Are you guys seeing this post on screen? Did I share the right screen?
Mhm.
Are you seeing this? Okay, good. So make sure that you're checking that out inside the group. Okay, it's about 11:11. Rosemary, did you have a question that we were supposed to answer on the call today? Was it you I'm thinking of? Did we get all your
Yeah,
questions?
it was on
answered?
my LinkedIn profile.
Okay. Did we answer it or do you still need help with it?
No, it was on my profile.
Okay.
I mean,
What
if
was your
you don't mind.
question? And because I want to make sure I told you to come to Friday call and we would answer it. And I just, in the back of my mind, I'm like, we didn't answer your question yet. What was your question?
Right.
We'll end with
It
that
was
today.
in my experience section.
Okay.
And because I answered 2 of 3 myself, so I was woohoo, yay.
Okay, you got that figured out.
Yeah. But if you
Okay.
click on my see more, and
Yeah.
so I feel like it's a little too wordy. It's not
Yes.
resume like, I mean,
Yeah.
I cleaned that up, but I don't know if I should change this. But then the other thing too is because I was at Bullseye for so long,
Yeah.
and I had multiple jobs there, the how to make it
Nested. Yeah,
nested.
I remember now.
Thank you.
So what you want to do is, if I were you, I would break these out into separate positions, because otherwise it does look like you were in one role for 19 years, 8 months. The way that you would do that, and I have to go to my profile to show you because I can't do it from your profile. Give me just a second. Going to my profile. I'm scrolling down to the experience section. I'm going too fast for LinkedIn. LinkedIn's like, hold on, Brenda, slow down. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to add each of the positions as their own role. So you're going to split them out. Keep the one that you had, like keep all of this in here right now. And what I would do is like do this in another window so you can kind of copy and paste as you're going back and forth. So what you're going to do is, and let me just pull this one, for example, Vice President Support Services from 2003 to 2018. So you're going to click on the plus button to add this in. And by the way, Rosemary, and for others on the call, this is recorded and on YouTube. So if you want to watch this in playback as you're going through later, you can do that. In experience section, we're going to click on plus. We're going to click on add position. You're going to paste the job title in, and then you're going to go into the employer name. You're going to type in the company name. As long as it's the same company as your other role, that's how you get that nested effect.
Oh, okay.
And then just, I mean, for older positions, you're really not going to notify your network. So you could turn that part off. Make sure that you are deselecting, I'm currently working in this role, putting in the years, you're putting that blurb inside the description section in there. So that's how you get the nested look of that. And I'm just going to show you as reference on my profile, Meller Marketing. When I first started my company, it was kind of a side hustle in 2016. That's my first role, Rockstar Marketing Consultant, LinkedIn Coach and Trainer. In 2019, I promoted myself because I hit a revenue goal, and I'm now calling myself Chief Engagement Officer. So that's how it's getting that dot with the line connecting like a nested role underneath. So it's showing in total, I've worked in Meller Marketing for 6 years, 3 months, but this role was 3 years, 7 months. This role was 9 months. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We got all the other questions answered for you though.
If we could just go back to my profile real quick, and then is it too wordy what I have?
I think it is. I'm going to see, I see Kenneth nodding his head too. We look at a lot of LinkedIn profiles all the time. I always tell people, like, your LinkedIn profile is like an appetizer where your resume is the full meal. So what I like to see in experience section is first description for the most recent role, a description of the company, like maybe 1 sentence or 2. If anything, you pull it from the company webpage or from the company LinkedIn page. So a 1 line, like, I don't really know what Bullseye Telecom is. If you can say Bullseye Telecom is a telecommunications firm located in Metro Detroit that generates 3 million in revenue, whatever. Okay, fine. As the vice president of human resources, I was responsible for, and it's a 1 line or 2 line description. That's it. I wouldn't put all of the other things in there. You know, I would leave those to your resume personally. I think it's too wordy. If you do want to keep this whole paragraph block in here, I would say break it up into short paragraphs or do a bulleted list instead to break it up. I see Kenneth and Jude both nodding. So Kenneth, do you want to add anything? And then Jude to that?
Well, I'm just looking here. It's very wordy. You definitely want to have bullet points to really be very specific, and to go into that much detail from a 15-year time span. How much of what you did in 2003 to 2006 is really relevant the same way? And again, I'm looking at this and I'm like, there's so much stuff going on here. Just pull out the 2 or 3 bullet points and use the about section if you want to go into a little more detail. For there, that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
All right, Jude, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, just very quickly, you know, those little emojis, I guess they're called, can really sort of break up and just add a little pop of color, a little bit of breathing room for the individual. And yeah, you can see Brenda's examples there. They really help to direct the eye, and also just a little bit of a color and a break. So I would recommend using those as well.
Okay.
All right, Joey, anything to add to that?
Rosemary, here's my disclaimer. I'm your friend.
Okay.
He's your friend from New York, right?
I'm your friend from New York, Rosemary.
Yes.
So I'm reading that first section about your first job. It says, well, I'm one of 5 members of the senior leadership team, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
My immediate thought as I'm reading this is, if I'm reading this, so what? Right? What is it about the fact that you were on this team? You were one of 5. So what did you do? So what? Right? All I'm saying is that you got to give some meat and some specific quantifiable results that differentiate you from everybody else who's been a VP of human resources.
Mm-hmm.
Brenda.
Okay.
Okay.
I can take it. I'm a
I
big
know you
girl.
can. That's why I said it.
I liked how he, like, that time he didn't just do the so what. He's like, all right, I'm your friend. He kind of neutralized it a little bit before going into the, but I mean, we're all here. Like I said, it's we want to be direct with each other. We're not just like here to go, oh, everything's happy, unicorns and roses. We want to be direct with you because there's so many people that won't tell you that you have spinach on your teeth, or that your about statement is difficult to read or anything like that. So was that helpful for you, Rosemary?
No, it very much was. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Okay. All right, guys. It's now 11:18. My husband's going to go, didn't you say 11:50? He's going to come in here in a minute and go, where are you at? So I want to thank all of you for being a part of our Friday call. I want to remind you, we do meet every Friday from 10 to 11 Eastern. I call this VIP job seeker office hours because you are all very important people. Regardless if you're working or not, the fact that you're coming out to this group and you're surrounding yourself with positive people, you are the kind of people I want to connect with, because when you do land a job, you're going to be able to pay it forward and refer me out to your company and help others that are helping out with the questions on today's calls. You are the kind of people who are motivated, who are inspiring, and who are getting inspiration from all of us. So I want to connect with you because you are very important people to me. We are here every Friday. My goal is not to see you on a Friday, not because I don't like you, but because I want you to get back to work. In the meantime, do know that this is a community that you can call part of your team. A while back, I was calling us #Team Social Media Pie. If you want to talk about us on LinkedIn, feel free. On that note, I want to get a quick group picture before we end the call. If you would like to be in the group picture, put your camera on right now. If you would be so kind, I'll give you a countdown, 3, 2, 1 before we take the picture. If you are feeling camera shy, that's perfectly fine. All right, but do turn your camera on, and I want you to look at the camera. I'm tapping my camera as I'm looking at it, and I'm going to count down. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to take a picture. Okay, look at the camera, smile. 3, 2, 1. Up. Alexis was fluffing her hair. Let's do that again on the count of 3, 2, 1. All right. We all look so lovely on here. All right. Awesome. I'm going to grab that photo and I'm just going to drop it on my desktop real quick. Awesome. Okay. So what else do you need to know? If you registered once, the link that you joined today's call is the same Zoom link we're going to be using through the end of December. At some point in December, I'm not going to be on a call. I might ask some all-stars or my interns to help for me. I'll give you advance notice of that, but we are meeting every Friday. We'll be here every Friday, even through the holidays. In 2023, we're going to have a different Zoom link, so you'll need to re-register, and then it'll be the same link that we're using for 2023. In the beginning of the call, I mentioned I am launching a new webinar series. And by the way, if you missed it, let me just share that a little sneak preview. It's not yet open right now, but the topic will be 3 ways to leverage LinkedIn to accelerate networking and find a job for the experienced rich, age 50 plus. I'll be announcing that on Monday. And those will be a few sessions. I'll be offering that in December. So watch your email for that. Make sure that you are getting emails from me. If you're not seeing emails from me, look in your junk or spam folder and mark me as a safe sender, because you don't want to miss out on these opportunities that are coming up in the near future here. All right. I think that's it. I want to thank my helpers for today. Thank you, Christopher, for helping with the technology and for spotlighting. It's so much easier, Christopher, when you're here than when you're not here, because I'm like, I did it wrong and bopping people around the wrong places. I want to thank those of us who helped with questions today. Jude, let's see, who else was on? Jude, Joey, and who was the other person that left? Sue. Did Sue leave? I think Sue might have stepped out. And Kenneth, I think Kenneth stepped out as well. And Megan, who helped out with some questions as well today. So thank you to all of you. I hope that you had a good Thanksgiving week if you do celebrate here in the US. I am thankful for all of you. I am thankful for all the people that support this call. I'm thankful for this great technology that allows us to do this and bring people in from all over the world. With that said, I am going to end the Zoom at this point so we can all finish enjoying our morning coffee and leftover Thanksgiving pie. That's a very important thing to do. And we'll be on again next week. So with that said, thank you all for attending. I'm going to end the broadcast now, and I will see you all next week.